Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page back after a week off. Dave Clark joining me this morning, 330-707-4202 to get in and talk sports. The station you're listening to is Western Reserve Radio here in Struthers, Ohio, the Gessler Propane Studios. Gessler doesn't light up one of those propanes and blow up our studio. Oh, Dave Clark, we go away for a week. What happens? It's supposed to be the time of year where there's really not a lot to talk about.
It's a lot going on.
A lot going on. I listened to Mad Dog Russo yesterday, and I was very surprised. He started his show off, and I was absolutely shocked because he never really goes into the political arena. And he stays out of that, which is good because he's sports talk.
Right.
He threw me a curve yesterday. I probably threw a lot of his listeners a curve when he wanted to comment on the debate. And unfortunately, our president, Joe Biden's basically inability to put a sentence together. Let's call it for what it is. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going down the road of that rabbit hole, which you never get out of. And let's leave it at that. And let's get into, obviously, sports, because that's what we do. I feel like we do it pretty good.
Right.
But Monty Williams, I want to lead off with him. I know this is a little bit an older story. We got to get to Bronny James being a Laker and all that, create all that chatter out there, Dave Clark. We got to get to some football issues, too. Doug Peterson evidently is on the hot seat now with the Jacksonville Jags. He must not get along with the owners real well, because I think of what Jacksonville did with the other owners, like Doug Marrone. They gave him a lot of lease. Bradley, and they gave those guys. He gave those coaches a few years. Boy, Doug Peterson, 2 years, he made the playoffs, beat the Chargers, and now he's on like the hot seat.
Yeah,
he hasn't had a losing season in 2 years.
Right. Yeah, I guess they feel they should go a lot further, and they did. They did fall apart.
Yeah, they did. They did.
But they just react too quickly. And I don't know if it might have something to do with that, with him or something. I know he doesn't like a lot of meddling going on. So if there's any of that going on, I'm sure he spoke his mind in regards to that. That's one thing he didn't have in Philly. So he didn't have that problem of anybody meddling into things, And speaking of that, and I guess if you remember, if you got that on topic 2 with Mike McCarthy. Going off on Jerry Jones.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
he was next on the list, right?
Yeah.
We've got
and did you hear about what Bill Parcells said? Who's been a quiet guy? Who's never said anything, but he said, "This is what you get with Jerry Jones." That's why he couldn't take it either. I'm out of here. He meddles too much in the things of the game.
Right. He wants to coach the team.
Yeah.
He only is the GM.
You think he got that together now? It's been 30 years since Jimmy Johnson. Come on. You think by now you'd know, okay, hey, let the coach do. Man, come on. This guy's starving for attention. And I don't understand why.
I don't understand it either.
No,
I just don't get it. But he won't let go. He will always be involved day to day. He wants to coach the team. He is the GM. His son is really the GM.
Yeah.
I don't know who the GM is. I think it is son. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's what they call him? You know how they use those signs on the sideline?
Yeah.
You give out, he's just a statue. His son is a statue.
Yeah.
Even though he goes off on dad sometimes,
right?
It still comes down to what Jerry
says. The only thing the son did that I knew of is he talked the father out of drafting Mansell. That was
that's the only thing.
The only thing that I knew that came to light is that he talked Jerry out of, no, you're not drafting Mansell. We have a lot of information on him that isn't good. Let someone else draft him. Cleveland did. But the point is, he did, because Jerry wanted to draft Mansell, the name, he was from Texas, yada, yada.
Yep.
And he did listen to his son on that time. And that basically worked out.
Right.
There's a lot of other NFL things. We got the NFL, but we got Tua talking about Tua and his contract issues. That's going on. There's even some talk about maybe, and this is just chatter, is maybe somehow put the quarterbacks in a different stratosphere on salary, like how to cap their salary, which isn't going to happen.
Right. Because
their salaries eats up so much of the cap, and we're watching year in and year out how these quarterbacks just keep making money. Like their salaries just keep going up. And, they don't want to give Tua the money that Lawrence got, or the Burrow guy, because Lawrence's contract is like almost Burrow's contract. I mean, they're saying, they don't want to give him that kind, and they don't want to give him Lamar Jackson money. They don't want to give him that kind of money.
Right.
But he says, hey, I'm your starting quarterback.
And it's the market.
And it's what the market is demanding.
Yeah. They're going to have to pay him.
So they're going to have to do something.
They better do it soon, get it done before Dak gets paid. Because when he gets paid,
Dak's right.
It's going to be in this new stratosphere.
Exactly. Because Dak will get paid.
Oh, he's going to get paid.
Because Jerry is, Jerry never learns. Like, he doesn't learn from his past mistakes. Like what he did to Dak with before this contract he signed, he kept holding off, and then ultimately had to pay him the big money.
Yep.
And he actually could have got Dak for less had he negotiated earlier, but he kept waiting, and the price just kept going up.
Yeah. And people get mad at Dak.
No,
you get mad at him.
Why are you mad at him?
He was trying to get a contract. They didn't do it.
Right. Dak wanted to negotiate the contract. He kept sitting back. I want to cut the market, and he just sat back. Right. It's the same people that don't like Bobby Bonilla because he's making all that money on his annuity until he's 72. Yeah. He'll make $1 million a year. Yeah. People get upset with Bobby Bonilla, and he's like, well, wait a minute. I just had, I helped the Mets out. The Mets came to me with the idea of deferring it, and I was all for it. I go, okay, yeah, I'll defer it. And they were like, because we're having financial issues, can we defer your contract over time? He goes, okay. Then they came to him again. The Mets came to him again and said, can we defer it longer? And he goes, okay. You want to give me $1 million, for till I hit 72. And what is he in his 60? He's like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I could live on $1 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about money.
Right. Ever.
And the same thing with these quarterbacks. They're sitting back with their agents, what kind of like the old, in the weeds, sort of to speak. And they're just watching. It's like, watching it. The salaries keep going up and up and up and up.
And they keep saying, don't pay Dak because he's not this. He's not a top this. And then I said, let me just look at every team. So I did that this past week. Yes, he is in the top 10, probably quarterbacks. When you look at what he does during the season, what happens to him is in big moments. He's had duds. Sometimes it's not all his fault. Like that Green Bay, when they got blown out the water, that wasn't all Dak's fault. Where was the defense? Where was they at?
But Dak did throw a pick 6 in that game.
Yeah, he did.
But you're right.
But that's only 6 points.
But that's only.
I don't care if he two of them. Right. That's only. But where is the defense?
The defense did not show up.
It did not show up.
And
so now you put more pressure. Now you put more pressure because he throws a pick 6. The defense is not stopping him. Makes him have to throw even more.
Right.
So then when he makes a mistake, everybody's having a fit.
Jordan Love, the Green Bay quarterback, should send the Cowboy defense gift certificates to the best restaurants because they just got him a contract. Now, we're waiting on Jordan Love's contract.
Yep, that's coming too.
Because he's up. But then Jordan Love played very good last year.
He did.
Very good against Dallas. Not so good against, the 49ers?
Yeah, but it wasn't really that bad.
But it wasn't that bad.
No. He didn't show where he was just it was too much for him. It just had. And they had a chance. They should have.
They should have beat the Niners.
Yep.
But if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, you better hope they sign him because he's a pretty good quarterback. I mean, we're watching him develop before our eyes. He sat the bench with Rodgers, did what he was told, did his job, even gave them he re-upped the contract for this year, very team friendly, but now you have to pay him too. Now I'm sure they don't want to pay him the Lamar Jackson or that contract, but they're going to have to.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give him you're going to have to give him to some kind of,
Yes.
You don't want to give him a Burrow contract. You don't want to give him that, but you're going to have to.
You got to. You ain't got no other choice.
Because Dak Prescott's we know he's getting it.
He's going to get it. So, Love's got to get it too.
Right, and you're going to have to give it to Jordan Love.
You got to give Tua's money.
And you're going to have to give Tua some kind of contract close to that.
Yeah, you got to get these guys. Who are you going to do? What you going to do?
they're whining about Tua's concussions. Well,
he played all 17 this past.
He played all 17, played good.
Yeah,
and he looked good in that on that offense. And they played good.
Played good. He did some things to prevent getting injured. It seemed like it was stupid, but evidently it must have helped something. He didn't get a concussion. Now, we don't know what happened this season, but regardless, the guy played all 17 games. He was there for you. What you going to do? You going to go to your backup? I think not. So just go ahead and pay it. It's the market. It's out of control, so it's too late now. It's too late. Let's give up the cash.
What makes me laugh is the NFL owners. And we have to get to the lawsuit that they lost on the NFL ticket too. They lost in court, class action suit for those people that had that NFL ticket package sued, and they lost the jury found 4-point-some odd billion for the defendants. So we'll get to that, but I just have a news flash that the NFL can appeal that. Mm-hmm. They can get it to the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court decides to take it 3 or 4 years down the road.
Right.
So what this translates into is, I know it's great. Everybody's oh yeah, the NFL got hit and lost 4-point-some odd billion. The NFL will just appeal that thing and try to get it reduced. And they're never going to, I'm convinced they're not going to pay that. No. They may pay some kind of a lesser amount.
Yeah. Might be down all the way into the millions.
Yeah. And then they'll just divide it by 32 and each team will kick in maybe $2 million apiece. So 64 million. And then they'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
We'll just increase the price of beer and something at the games. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, right? That's what's going to happen.
They'll just increase
$10
concessions. It'll be 15. It'll be up to 15,
and they'll still buy it.
And they'll buy it anyway. Because years ago, a couple years ago, I went to the Notre Dame Ohio State game, and I believe the beers were anywhere between 12 to 15, and people kept buying them.
Yep.
I watched it. Popcorn was $8. A bottle of water was $8 or something crazy. And
isn't that funny?
Yeah,
$8
bottle of water. And I just wanted, something really. I didn't want to eat. They have that pizza there. They have all that, nachos, and that's like $10 a pop. Everything is $10, $12, $11, whatever.
Yeah,
and
unbelievable.
But you know what? People, what I did see. I saw more people going down to get beer and coming back, going back down. Same people, two beers in their hands. I'm thinking, well, that's, $20 or so, $25. Kept going back. Yeah. They kept, i.e., people were paying it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got to pay it.
The fans go to the game. You can charge what you want. It's not going to deter people.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get it. They might even fuss about it. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and here, and one thing that might make it easier is they don't take cash.
Yeah.
And I found that when I went to Ohio State basketball game, they don't take cash at all. Mm-hmm. You have to pay with credit.
Right.
Because I wanted to get, again, I was at the basketball game, and the bottle of water isn't as high. It's only like $4 or 50 cents there or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I went to buy it. And I had cash, and the lady goes, "I'm sorry, we don't do cash. You need to pay credit card." I said, "Okay." And she was very nice. She explained to me that they don't take cash on anything, and they don't have to carry cash.
Right.
And it cuts down on theft,
mm-hmm.
and they can document everything they sell.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, they have an inventory of either food, water, and whatever, beer, and they take a credit card and they know exactly what they sold. Mm-hmm. And they have all that in their records.
Right.
So they can match up what they have in inventory, what was bought, and then that gives them the difference. I get what was it like net inventory. But the point is, she said that they could track inventory very easy.
Yeah.
Because now you have documentation on everything that they do.
Yeah.
Which Makes sense.
Yep.
But you're at the Ohio State game, the football game, same thing. They take credit card on everything.
Yep.
So they track everything.
Yep. That's how they do it now.
And that's how they do it. And that's it. I mean, what always cracked me up is because Ohio State never wanted to sell alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
They changed.
Oh yeah.
And they're making.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of if you start looking at your math, you figure 105,000 people at an Ohio State game. You probably think that the average person with beer and chips and food and maybe a souvenir, you got to figure on an average they're probably spending about $100 a piece, which is probably on the low side.
Right.
But if you take $100,000, I mean $100 times
100,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No. Real good.
It was real good.
Mm-hmm.
So they see it coming and going, but the bottom line is, they're making a good profit.
Oh yeah, they're making great, over $1 million.
Easy.
Every time.
Yeah.
You got, probably 6, 7 home games.
Yeah.
7, 8, $9 million.
If you take $100 times, we're going to go to school here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's $10 million they make on concessions. If you take 100, I just took 100 times 100,000, and that comes to 10 million. And that's probably low.
Yeah, because that's 7 zeros. So that's
right.
Yeah.
So that's basically $10 million, and that's probably
they play at least 6 home games, but sometimes they play more.
7.
At least 7.
That's $70
million.
Probably 70 million, and that's low. I bet it's close to 100 million a year what they take in concessions, and you throw in the people buying. And that's the thing too. And I think about it when I went to the game. I saw a lot of people at that concession, the souvenirs.
Yeah,
people buying souvenirs.
Give me that jersey. Let me get
jersey.
That
sweatshirt.
How much? 85. Okay, give me that.
It. No, here's the card.
They be like that. They be
80. Yeah.
Dollars and stuff
80,
like that.
Yep. $80.
Yeah.
You bring your kids. Hey, Dad, I want to. Get him a jersey. Yeah. Okay. The hat. Get him a hat. 25 for the hat. 30 for the hat. 85. There's 100 and some odd there.
Oh yeah.
Then you got to roll to the concession stands.
Yep.
So that number we threw out is probably on the low side.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that 70 million definitely on the lower side.
Yeah, that's probably
100 and something.
It's probably well
when
over.
you add up that other stuff, souvenirs, all that stuff.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah. It's probably more than that.
Yep.
Yeah, when you talk about money, but I know we do digress and we do get off on tangents because that's what this show does.
Right.
But to get it to looking at the NFL, then we got to get to obviously Bronny being drafted by the Lakers. Okay. How surprised were you?
No, I wasn't. I mean, I thought he was going to get. Either he's going. I just felt like this. Either they found out that LeBron might say, "Hey, I'm gonna sign somewhere else. I got to keep him."
Right.
Draft his sons. Draft him.
That's what they did.
That's what they did because they were scared of losing.
Right. Because he could opt out and go somewhere, and LeBron wasn't opting in before the draft.
And he was thinking about those New York Knicks.
Sure he was.
Because they've talked about it. It's been leaked that he was thinking about it, and they wanted him. They was actually looking at some things, and still are talking about if they can get a trade for him
LeBron.
and Bronny.
For Bronny, the Knicks.
For Julius Randle, and I forgot how many picks and everything like that. Yeah. I mean, but that, it would have to be a package. So,
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're going to, right. Yeah.
But I actually think he's going to, if he stays injury-free and still can play at the level, he's still playing at a high level.
Oh, you can.
So if he can still play, and even if it drops a little bit, I think he's going to play all the way until his other son comes.
Bryce,
I don't know if he's a junior.
Oh, no, Bryce will be a senior.
He'll be a senior this year, right?
He will be a senior, so he has 2 years left.
Yep.
Bryce will obviously do want his senior, then go to college a year.
Yeah.
And then he'll go to the NBA.
I really think he's.
And so you'll have Bronny, Bryce, and LeBron on your team.
I actually think it's going to happen.
You know what?
Injury have to, or some kind of change of heart for him to just stop. I think he would love to do that because nobody's never done anything like that, and I think he wanted it. He likes to do stuff that's never been done.
Oh yeah, I believe that definitely.
And that's unbelievable.
Yes, it
you
is.
To be playing with your sons, and then if you're playing still at a high level, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous anyway right now. He's playing like that well, he'll be 40 in December or something like that, right?
Yes, he will. He will be December 30th. Yeah, he was born I believe he was born. He and Tiger have the same birthday.
Okay.
Tiger was born, I think they were both born December 31st or the 30th. Tiger was born in 1975. LeBron was born in 84. They're 9 years apart. So Tiger is obviously going to be 49, pushing 50 next year. And LeBron obviously will be 40.
Yeah.
Because he will be he would and he was born in 1984. He'll be 40 this year.
Yeah.
So, and he's still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
He's still in the discussion for the top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
He still is a difference maker. I don't know if the Lakers are really structured to win an NBA title out west. I just think
they got to make some kind of move.
They got to make a move.
Do something.
Davis is he's hurt a lot, but he's starting to show a little age, but he still has shown you he can definitely play at a high level too.
Yeah. And he stayed healthy.
And if
this time.
he stayed healthy this time.
Yeah.
They just ran the Denver Nuggets, but they outplayed Denver, I know, they lost. They got swept, but you see series where teams outplay the other team and lose. And
and that happened. And that definitely happened there.
Yeah, it happened there. Yeah. And, then we saw that Denver looked relatively, mortal against Minnesota, and they got beat by Minnesota.
Yeah.
But I have news for the NBA. It doesn't matter because once the Celtics have won the first one, the other ones come easy. And the way the Celtics are put together, they'll keep Tatum.
Yeah.
I just don't see the Celtics losing. I still think they got the best team. Maybe the Knicks, we didn't get to the Bridges trade, which I think was a very good trade.
Yeah.
What do you think of that trade, Dave Clark?
I love that trade.
Mikal Bridges is now a Knick. I think they gave up. What was his name? Bogdanovic.
Yeah. I like him. He can score.
I liked him. He could
score,
score, but he's hurt.
Yep.
And they gave up draft choices to me. And we'll get to the NBA draft because, this is what I find annoying about the draft. We'll save it till the next segment because we'll talk about NBA. Monty Williams, I still can't let and I know I complain about NBA coaches being like left for, they change their coaches on a whim. It's like, I think all these guys have a George Steinbrenner complex.
Well, they got to, because wasn't it just maybe 3 years ago, maybe 4, that he won Coach of the Year?
Yeah. For Phoenix.
So he forgot now how to coach.
No, totally.
Look at your roster, and that'll let you know whether you can win.
Right. Doesn't matter. We got to get to that. We've got a couple minutes left in the first quarter. We'll talk second quarter because it's summer and we're kind of all over the board. Unless it's football, then we stay focused.
Yeah.
But this is the type of time of year where we just kind of move around.
Yeah.
And where the old Cat Stevens songs, the maze of doors opens up.
Yep.
Walk into that maze.
Yep.
Life is like a maze of doors. They open from the side you're on. And that's our show. We are one giant maze of doors because we keep going in, here, out, this door, that door. Because we move around on these topics. And bottom line, though, is we got to talk to the NBA coaches. The football, though, we'll still talk a little bit more football because we've got some hot seat coaches, McCarthy being one of them. Then we'll kind of look at some of the divisions because I think it's very interesting what division in NFL looks to be the best. And I think we've got some good discussion who's got the best division in the NFL.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you really got some really ones. I think the AFC West is really in the discussion along with the AFC North now.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real interesting division. And then when you start looking around those two divisions, and then you start seeing if the Jets can make an impact.
And if they do, that's going to be a major
That's going to be an interesting division.
Yeah. I will say, I give them credit for once. They really looking to make the offensive line better. They went out and got
they did.
Everybody they could. Draft, trades, free agents. And they got good guys. Guys that can
they're going to have to keep Rodgers up, and they're going to have to develop a running game for Rodgers to succeed.
Yeah. Well, give it this continued Breece Hall and whatever you have.
Breece Hall.
And you got the guys.
That's a quick quarter. Second quarter of the sports page is coming up after a real quick timeout. Western Reserve Radio.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
If you want to stay on top of your health, one simple thing to do
is take the pledge to go and get screened for the cancers that might affect you.
So stand up to cancer and take the pledge and get screennow.org.
It only takes a minute to take care of yourself, and nothing rhymes with org.
Talk to your doctor about your health and screenings that are right for you.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you, 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here. And here is Western Reserve Radio. So talk the first quarter of the show. We are now in the second quarter. And the first quarter, we just kind of went all over the board. And I guess I do. I know we started the show off. No, not doing the political. I mentioned that Biden can't put a sentence together. The other bird, Trump, he just telling fact check him. Everything is coming out. Just that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Just a bunch of lies.
It was a circus.
Yeah,
it was a circus. I did not watch it.
Yeah.
I just read about it, but it's a circus.
Yeah.
Please.
And what Biden was saying, he was saying truthful things, but
right.
He always did that. One thing people don't know, he did have a stuttering issue.
Yeah, he did
younger.
at one
time. And that's what happens with him.
Yeah.
it gets worse.
Yeah,
though.
it gets worse.
And it gets worse,
Right.
and probably because he's older, and it gets worse at times.
Right.
And he'll get stuck.
And he gets stuck.
You know, and then he'll get it out.
He freezes out.
Yeah.
And then, again, it's like, this is what happens when you put an 81-year-old and a 77-year-old in.
Yeah.
We got to get younger people. We got to get younger.
Yeah. Well, it should be a cutoff.
75, I say.
Yeah.
I think you got to cut it off some.
Yeah.
They got to just cut it off.
And I think even if you're 74, you're in there, you can't run. You just can't run.
You can't run again.
You got to be.
No.
Wait.
Right. Please. You got to get. We need to have younger people in to do that. Job. These guys are way too old.
Yep.
Too old. Please. That's it. That's all we'll say about that.
Yep.
We're going to move on to sports, which we do. I still just had to comment on the age thing. I think it's crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, Monty Williams. I love this. Detroit brings him in a year ago. Gives him a record-setting contract. $78.5 million. We're bringing Monty in 6 years because we want to make a change in the culture. We want a guy to come in. We're going to give him like full reign. We're giving him a boatload of money. And we want Monty Williams because we believe in Monty Williams, right? And he's going to come in and he's changing the culture. We're going to give him got to give him a few years because it's a crappy team, right?
Right.
And we're that good.
But yeah.
You got
a lot of young guys.
Young guys.
Got to get them together.
You got to get, and you're going to build the roster. You got to take time.
Right.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year.
Yeah. Now people ask, they got any talent? Yeah, they got talent. They got some good young talent, but you still got to rein them in and then be able to play your system. That doesn't happen in one season.
No.
After you've been coached by somebody else and this and that going on, you got to give the guy at least 3.
At least.
Get it going. To see some improvement. 1 season. So whenever I see that, there's something else behind the scenes that we don't know. At least I'm thinking that. Or these are some very, very itchy trigger finger guys.
I don't get
it. That's the only thing I can think of. It's got to be something else personal.
What did he do?
It's got to be something personal to get rid of a guy 1 season.
And the record is you owe him $65 million over the next 5 years.
And now you got to get another one.
Now you got to go find another coach.
And pay them too.
And you got to pay him. So
it's stupid.
This goes to show you in the NBA, I don't know if you want to say the players run the league or run the team. It's not the coach. I think the last person has any say on what goes on an NBA team is the coach. I am convinced of that now. These guys, Darvin Ham got fired.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, they didn't. I mean, why? He got him to a conference final. He had a very tough series against Denver and lost. I know it was a sweep, but the team played good. He just had, a type of thing where I thought he did pretty good job coaching the team, and they fire him after 2 years. You just get these coaches, and these guys are afterthoughts. Yep. They just get canned for, Monty Williams out, Darvin Ham out, and no rhyme or reason.
No, I don't get it.
I mean, you can't tell me that Darvin Ham didn't deserve at least another year. Now they're bringing in J.J. Redick, who I think is very smart and intelligent, and evidently they said he really knows the minutia of basketball, the numbers and everything, but he's never coached before.
Right.
But he did have a podcast with LeBron, so maybe that qualifies as he can coach the team. Okay, I guess. But that's where you're headed. You're going to bring in a J.J. Redick. Does it matter, though?
Yeah.
Does it really matter?
We're going to find out quickly.
I'll ask you this. What is the chance of 50? I'll throw a number 50%. What's the chance that J.J. Redick survives 50% over under after 1 year? I probably say that there's probably a 60% chance he gets fired. I'll go that far. After 1 year. I could see that. I'm sorry. I can.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm probably
I'll give
jaded.
them 2 because I don't know. They don't want to be called a laughing stock, the Lakers, so they'll give them 2.
You think they'll give him 2?
Yeah, because I don't think they'll do it just on 1.
So what do you rate it? You put it like 30%?
I say 30%.
Okay, so I'm going 60, you're going 30.
Yeah, I go something like that.
You go 30, then
and I think they might want to fire him and then say, well,
but they won't.
We'll just keep him 1 more. And then if he looks disaster, we'll fire him during the season. No telling. But that's the only reason. They don't want to be like other teams that do it in 1 season. That's the only reason. Because I don't know why. I mean, Darvin Ham took them to a conference finals when nobody had the Lakers penciled in going to the finals.
Right.
Conference finals.
Right. He got him in, right. He got him to the conference
Nobody
finals.
thought that. And then this year, because of just mental breakdowns, different situations happening, guys falling apart, D'Angelo Russell, a couple of those type of guys against Denver, they lost those games in which they outplayed them.
They did.
Really 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
They outplayed them. And then right at the end, they lose. And they did that 4 games. They had Denver. And they couldn't knock it out the box. So I'm wondering if they're going to try to bring certain guys back, like Caldwell Pope. He didn't. I think he didn't take his options, so now he's a free agent.
Well, for the record, it was on this morning. D'Angelo Russell did opt in to his contract, but
that might mean he could be traded now, right?
Yes, but D'Angelo Russell. This is what he said about J.J. Redick. I really see myself thriving under his guidance to help win at a high level. So D'Angelo Russell likes J.J. Redick. He wants to play for him.
Now I will say this.
So
if you get guys that buy in and say, I want to play for this guy.
Yeah.
It might change a whole lot. It might, when you're playing for a guy and you don't like playing for him.
It's different, right?
And they seem like they were okay, so that first year. They got to the conference finals with Darvin Ham. Seemed like there was a lot of friction this season.
Right.
With Darvin Ham.
Yeah, there was.
And it was a lot of stuff. 1 week, D'Angelo Russell, you're bench, you're never playing. Then the next week he's playing.
Right.
And then Reeves is bench. I mean, it was too much of
I guess they had problems with his rotation.
Yeah. Rotation.
I heard that was an issue.
I just didn't understand benching guys like that for long periods of time I can't say for no reason. They might not have been performing up to standards, but those are your core guys. So if your other guys see that your core guys is getting slammed, how much do they want to play for you? So you got a lot of stuff going on. That might have been the reason for Darvin Ham to go, but I still thought he should have got another season. But
yeah, I don't know why
that could have been it though, right?
It might have been the rotation.
So I mean, I didn't know that D'Angelo said that. We'll probably hear that same. I know J.J. Redick said this about what's his name? I can't think of his first name. Wood, that they picked up in the trade.
Right.
That he felt a guy that can rebound, score, and they didn't even use him.
Right.
And they said he said I could see where they could use them with Anthony Davis at the same time, and then allow Anthony to take a break and allow this guy
work him into the rotation.
And that was never happening. So, all those type of things like that make you wonder. J.J. Redick saying great things about Wood. He, comes back. Then these guys might want to play. This might be a different team. I don't know. Now, I heard the chatter about Klay Thompson, but I didn't see anything happen yet about them signing him.
The Lakers.
Yes.
Yeah, he is a free agent. Yeah. And there's talk about him leaving. Obviously, he can leave Golden State. Will he sign for a reduced amount? Emmanuel quickly signed a real big deal with the Raptors. A lot of money.
Yeah. He was a guy at first I didn't want the Knicks to really get rid of. He's playing so well, but I can't say anything about what the Knicks do because they have They've done a great job.
Quickly got a 5-year deal, $185 million.
Wow, can't beat that.
I believe that's what it was.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
That's $37 million.
Yeah.
A year. Average.
I mean, he was a good player with the Knicks. I liked him.
Yeah.
But the thing with the NBA, and I kind of have to, when you think it over, they get these contracts. It's just that's the way it is, man. It's monopoly money.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's you look and say, what? He got what?
Yeah, it was 5-year 175.
Okay.
Was a little off there. But
that's
the
still
point,
$35 million a year. So
he's getting $35 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a good player with the Knicks.
Yeah,
he gave him energy off the bench, could hit three. I liked him with the Knicks. And that goes, Anobi signed with the Knicks.
Yeah, that's what Sassini's trying to put that whole entire core together.
And now they got Bridges. And now there's talk, they're trying still. They still want to sign Hartenstein. Yeah. But it looks like he's looking at Oklahoma City is going to give him a boatload of money.
Right.
So I guess he may depends on what he wants to do. If Isaiah Hartenstein wants to sign with the Knicks and evidently take less money, or Oklahoma City evidently is offer him.
Yeah, it's all up to him because if he stays with the Knicks, they may now he was forced into starting rotation
because of Robinson's hurt.
Injured. But he's a guy that they may put on the trading block. And they done talked about it. So he's got to think about that he may be the starting center. And where is he going to Oklahoma? He's not going to be the starting center.
Right.
I don't see that's going to, the guy they got there, the young guy, unless they're going to move him out to forward where he can, because he can shoot threes and everything. But I don't think that's going to happen. So Hartenstein will be a backup in Oklahoma, but at least that's what you think. But if they're paying them big money, maybe they're going to play both of those guys. It's hard to pay a guy boatload of money and he doesn't start. That's really hard.
It said here in one article, it said Knicks have some more financial flexibility after they made those the 2024 draft trades.
Mm-hmm.
So
they're trying to create money.
Yeah, they're trying to create money. They're saying his deal could start at $16.2 million a year. So we'll see Mikal Bridges after the trade. Knicks could be hard capped at NBA first apron. That would limit $178 million team salary. So we're going to have to see how the Knicks navigate their way. Can they still sign Isaiah Hartenstein to a deal? So we're going to have to wait this one out. It said here they can offer Hartenstein a 4-year deal worth $72 million.
Okay.
Team with cap space can offer him much more than 72 over 4 years. That's where this Oklahoma City's coming into play. So they evidently have the cap space, I'm assuming, to offer him more money. So he's got to decide maybe, does he want to stay at the Knicks and take the 4-year deal, or does he want to go to Oklahoma City and evidently get paid more money?
Right.
But now one guy thought that a caller called in, which I thought was interesting, to Mad Dog Russo's show, and thought that because of Anobi's injury history, that the Knicks should let him go and play for Philadelphia because he's always hurt, and then sign Hartenstein, but get rid of Anobi. But they didn't do that.
Yeah.
OG Anobi they're keeping, and they gave him.
And then the way they loading up on their wings like that, he doesn't have to play
keep
enormous
the minutes. With Mikal now getting Bridges in.
Yeah.
You can they can kind of maybe split those minutes on the season, and he won't be more apt to get hurt.
Right.
And then you'll have, again, you got to, as you said earlier, we're talking about that Bridges trade with the Nets. I was surprised the Nets did it. Because usually the Nets don't trade with the Knicks.
And I could see Bridges was good at Phoenix, but he had so many stars around him. He made big plays, big things happen when he was there. But then when he had the opportunity to be one of the main cogs of a team, he played great at the Nets.
He did.
And that's why he was able to get this kind of contract, because you can see this guy can score and he can play defense. He plays on both ends. That's how he was at Phoenix, but he'll have big games here and there. But look, all the people he had around him with Durant, Booker.
He was kind of
he wasn't getting that scoring in there like that then, But he definitely scored at the Nets, and to add him, and don't put all that. I still think they needed to get another ball handler so that all that don't be on Brunson.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think they need to, go out and pick another ball handler.
I mean, I don't even care if it's a veteran that's
just
a Kyle Lowry. I don't care anybody like that can be
just
there.
Somebody can at least
take some of the minutes
take the load off
him.
Brunson.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to do something, because he has to play a load of minutes.
Yeah, because that's what he ran into in the playoffs. He just played way too many minutes. He and Josh Hart, those guys got hurt in that Pacer series,
and they play so hard.
They play very hard.
Yeah,
but they play too many minutes for playing that hard, and you just know that it's going to probably equate to an injury, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
Hart got hurt, Brunson got hurt, and a lot of it is the minutes they were grinding in that playoff, and you just can't play those guys 48 minutes, 46 minutes, game in, game out in the playoffs. You got to give those guys, and you've got to get your bench at least to come in and not lose the lead and at least maintain, so these guys get air.
Right.
But that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They just not. The Knicks just wore those guys out.
Yeah.
And the sad part is, had the Knicks beat the Pacers, and had they been healthy, I think they would have at least given the Celtics a better series.
Uh-huh.
The Celtics just swept Indiana. The first game was the difference, because that was the game Indiana had won against the Celtics, and they gave that game away, and that just seemed to set that series right to the Celtics.
Yep, that's
and
what
the,
happened.
And the Celtics, the reality, and you watch them, they breezed through the playoffs.
Yeah.
They had no competition.
Right. Everything worked out perfectly for them. Everything.
They did.
And that's why I said, even though I agree, you said it, the team, when you look at it, they do look like the best team, but you had a no Jimmy Butler.
No, right. They got no Jimmy Butler. Mitchell was hurt for the Cavs.
Yep.
And then obviously, I think who was hurt for they blew through the Indiana Pacers. But
Halliburton got hurt.
Halliburton got hurt. Thank you. So they had things go their favor.
Things go their way.
Right.
I mean, they did. And I look at, even in that conference, you had a Joel Embiid who was rolling until he got hurt. He was tearing it up, and then he gets hurt. So you get him stay healthy. They add a piece to that Philadelphia team. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I don't think Celtics might think they'll breeze through, but they just, like I said, they have a tendency to fall in love with threes all day. And if you're playing a healthy Miami Heat with the Jimmy Butler and other guys, you can't do that against them. They're just too hard-nosed, too good defensively.
Right.
They'll give you major problems. So same thing with even the Cavs, the young as they was, a healthy Donovan Mitchell.
It would have been, I think
competitive.
Boston gets there anyway. I think they beat Miami with Butler, but it would have been a series. They would have extended it. It could have gone 6, maybe 7 games.
I think it's extended.
If Mitchell played, maybe the Cavs get another game off him, and the series goes to 6 games or maybe 7.
Yeah, I just don't underestimate a team when Jimmy Butler is healthy,
right?
And because when they went to the finals a couple years ago,
right?
And who would have even thought they would? That was against Denver, right?
Right. That was last year.
Yeah, I would have never thought they'd make it to the NBA.
Well, they upset, and that's what they did. They beat Milwaukee, and then they beat Boston, I believe.
Yeah,
and they found again. But that's Riley, and bottom line is Butler, and that team is structured.
Yeah, certain ways.
And that's how they do it. They, again, without having Butler,
Yeah, it was signed. And,
They did
then
get
there's
a
talk
game.
about him going back to Philly.
Yeah, there is some talk about,
and that does make them, it's just something he gives them that edge, and Maxey has really done came about now. He's definitely a big time player now, and you keep Embiid healthy, just something, and then they could still sign. They got so much cap, they could still sign Paul George if they had to. If they could get him, they could get Paul George and Jimmy Butler. That's crazy.
well, right now, Butler's contract, it looks like, says rather than negotiate an extension with the Heat now, Butler plans to play out the 24-25 season, then opt out of the final year of his contract and hit as an unrestricted free agent in 2025. To your point, does that mean are they going to trade him? Because this would be maybe the team will trade him. Now it says Butler will not seek a trade in the offseason, despite not coming to an agreement on the extension. But already it's in the Hoops Hype, which is a great site.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the best basketball sites. I just love that Hoop Heights, and the rumors are so great.
Yeah, no.
But the rumor is that we just talked about D'Angelo Russell wanting to play for J.J. Redick. Now there's talk that he's on the trading block.
Yeah, right. I know. So, he might want to play for him, but he's going to get traded.
They're trading him, but he wants to play. I thought he wants to play for J.J. Redick, though.
Now they can get
I guess
point guard in there.
They get someone else, he's not playing for J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
Not his call.
Right.
But he's going to opt in and take the last year of the contract.
Right.
And figure I'll play for JJ because I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
He thinks that's, it's a good hire. I like JJ Redick. I want to play for the guy. Now he's going to not be because they're going to trade him.
It probably will.
I don't doubt it.
No.
What's the over?
I'm going 70%.
So what are you doing? What's the over under? We already did JJ Redick's 50%.
Yeah, no, I think D'Angelo is gone now. I think it's.
What do you what do you rate it at?
70%.
70. Well, knowing what I read, I'm going to go one better. I go 90. I think he's gone.
Yeah, because he gives the thumbs up for JJ, and the other stuff is going on. Yeah, he's out.
He's out. He's done. He's out. He packed the bags. He's gone, man. Put the house on the market. You're going somewhere. I don't know where, but you're not going to be there.
Nope. Gone again. Second time from the Lakers.
No. He's going to be gone. He's going somewhere else. I don't know where. I'm sure, and there'll be somebody that wants him. So, there'll be a market out there that'll go after,
Yeah, somebody to get him.
Someone. Then the only question I have is, does Miami trade Butler? It's possible they may trade him. He's not seeking a trade, but I don't be. And then what if Riley made some comment to him? Butler made a comment, and then Riley said something to him about, well, you're not playing.
Well, he was making comments about the series between, I forgot who it was, Indiana and somebody. And he said, you're not even playing. You don't need to be commenting on certain things. And they got into it about that. But I know he commented on the games, and Miami's not even in it. And that's what Riley was upset for him to be making any kind of comment.
Right. Riley made, he rips Jimmy Butler for his comments about, I think he was talking about, was it the Celtics? Anyway, Riley rips Butler on his comment about NBA playoffs. So
right, yep.
Anyway,
talking about it, yeah.
Where that goes with us is, and this is what we all love to do. Does that open up the door for trade?
Yeah.
Does Riley look at it now as he's very tradable? I know Riley was upset that he was hurt, and Jimmy Butler does get hurt though. But you know what? I'm almost to the point with this NBA. Look at all the injuries in the playoffs. Look at all the players. You start with like Kawhi Leonard missed the playoffs. Butler missed the playoffs. The stars. These are the superstars.
Yep.
The Knicks had injuries during the playoffs. Brunson was hurt at 7 games.
Tibbs got to calm down. He just act like the guys on the bench is ornaments. He doesn't even play. Then you finally get certain guys in, and they're playing lights out.
Pretty good.
And it's like, what are you doing? These guys could play. I'm trying to think, what's the one guy that's been with the Knicks? He was there before. He's gone. He's back with them. And he came in and was scoring off the bench. He had to play because Anunoby was injured.
He was hurt. Yeah, and that's the other guy.
What's his name?
For the Knicks?
Yeah, he had to play for him while he was here. But
was his name? Was that Precious?
Oh, no, not him.
Not him.
It's a veteran. He played for the Knicks before. He gone away. Then he came back and he was Knicks this year again. And he used to play for Utah. Man, the guy's always been a guy that you can depend on.
Yeah, no.
Score.
I'm going to look it up.
And he'd wear number 18. He just come in and score like crazy.
Look at that. Jimmy Butler said, if I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York damn sure would be at home. Josh Hart, come on. That's what Butler said. And then Riley made his comment like, you're not playing.
Right.
Saturday morning sports page, halftime. Back after a quick timeout.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202. Alex Burks was the player for the Knicks. Now he is a free agent, I believe. Mm-hmm. And but he played good for the Knicks, but he just never got to play. And he was only in when they had the injuries. And this goes back to our discussion about that I mean, I like Thibodeau. He's a good coach. Maybe a borderline great coach. I like him. But you got to, if you're going to play those guys as hard as they play, like Hart, Brunston, you've got to cut their minutes down and use your bench. And Alex Burks came in when he had to, and he played good.
Yeah.
But he was like never playing. And I don't understand it because I actually think he's been a solid player. He's been around the league.
Yeah. He's been around the league, and he's always been a solid player.
But he's always a good player.
Yeah. And it's not like a guy that, he's out the league. No, he just be traded. He's 32 years old.
Right.
You know, he's just been around.
He's a small forward shooting guard. He's actually a first-round pick in 2011.
Yep.
He's been in the league a while, but he's a good player. And I just think that now against the Pacers, he did get to play a lot because of the injuries.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he had to. Yep, but you beat your team up. You know, so he's got to keep those New York Wildcats or the Villanova Knicks together. Because now you bring Bridges over and you got 4 Villanova.
Yeah, now you got the 4
Villanova guys that won championships together in college. Yeah, so chemistry. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
All those guys played together. They played together at Villanova.
It'll be interesting to see ultimately what they do with the Knicks. I think, like we talked about.
Yeah, I still think they're going to do something else. I don't know why.
I think they've got to bring in a ball hand. There's rumor out there the Knicks are looking at Kevin Durant still.
Yeah.
That is a buzzword. You brought up that the potential Knicks are still trying to maybe think of getting LeBron James and Bronny now because that's a package.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't put anything.
Julius Randle and a lot of picks.
Right, and the picks that they have left.
Yep.
And who knows? I mean, could you imagine if they got LeBron James with the Knicks? I don't know how they can work the cap out though.
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
I think
I don't know what Julius makes.
He doesn't make Randall's contract.
He might make like 30-something million.
That's the thing with the Knicks. Julius Randall's contract, I thought would be like, I'll tell you what it is. He'll only make $28 million this year. Next year, if he opts in, he makes 30. But he'll probably opt out. But will the Knicks trade him?
Right.
Now Brunson for the Knicks is making $24 million, almost $25 million. And then next year he'll opt out because he'll opt out next year because he makes again almost $25 million. It's 24.9. Let's call it 25. $25 million. They'll sign him.
Mm-hmm.
And now they already signed Anunoby for this year, and he's signed up through 27, 28, and then 28, 29, he can opt out. But he's going to be making $36 million this year, $39 million next year. So he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Knicks have to work on trying to figure out, they're going to sign Brunson long term. Randall is the wild card. I'm not sure what they're going to do with him.
Right.
Are they trading him or are they going to keep him? Mitchell Robinson's under contract for 2 more years. They've got Dante DiVincenzo. He's under contract for 3 years. So there's some people that they've got, but then they've got to figure out with Brunson, they're going to have to sign him long term and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you're right. I'm not sure they're done. And then Hartenstein is a free agent. So they either have to sign him or he goes out the door and they lose him.
Right. Yeah.
But then if they lose him, they have to going to have to find another rim protector. I thought maybe in the draft, I thought maybe the Knicks did not go. I thought they would go after a rim protector in the draft, but they did not.
Right.
But the NBA draft is almost kind of I'm going to call it the twilight zone because these guys get traded like so quickly. And was it the guy that the Spurs drafted? Then they traded him like right away. And then people are like, what the hell? What's going on?
I think he's really good to that if you're talking about Dillingham, he's like an Allen Iverson type.
Yeah.
The guard from Kentucky.
Right.
And I think they picked him 9th, whatever they did. They traded him. Or no, it wasn't. Was it the Spurs? Was it the Spurs? He might have got traded. He was on a team with his college teammate. I know that. And he got traded right away. And then some more got traded later on, too, down in the draft. They was just trading like crazy. They don't even, they come up there, and they're so different from the NFL. They'll have a trade, but the commissioner will still say whether it's the Phoenix Suns select, but they're not really selecting them.
No.
It's the other team that got
It's the other team getting him, and that's the confusion.
Yeah, it's a confusion.
It's like, and
the NFL draft is not like that. They make a trade,
right?
Trade the other team, they get on the clock,
right?
And it's so you can understand everything,
right? No, the NFL is really so much better because the NBA, it's like these guys get drafted, they get the hat on, and then you find out 10 minutes later they've been traded.
Yeah, they come off the stage with the hat on.
They get the hat on here, and now give me the other hat. You're like, well, what happened? They traded that guy. And then you find out that the trade was really made before, and the team's telling them draft that guy because he's part of the trade.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I almost wish what they would do is just say flat out, okay, this guy's been traded, and he's getting drafted by this team.
Yeah.
And forget the order. Just say who's drafted.
Just say whoever they traded. That's
right.
They traded their draft pick to whoever and let them draft them.
And they draft the guy.
Yeah.
Do that up front.
Because it's confusing.
Because it's so confusing.
Yeah. Because you be thinking, oh, okay, they got him. And then you wait later on, you look. No, he doesn't play for them. He plays.
No. He got traded.
That is so confusing. It's such an easy fix, too.
Yeah.
I mean, easy fix. You only got 2 rounds, so it's an easy fix.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something hard.
Right.
But I never got, what I kept saying, they said they traded the pick, and then they go up and still say it. And I could even tell one of the panelists, I forget her name, that was talking. She was even looking. She said, they did trade that pick, right?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah. And she said, okay, so that he's actually not going to that team. And I started laughing because she had that look on like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, why is commissioner coming up talking about he's drafted by the whoever and he's not really
and he's
drafted?
not. Because he's not going to that team.
Yeah.
I guess technically that team drafts him, but he's already been traded.
Right. Now, the one guy you was talking about that was drafted early, Dillingham.
Right.
It took a while. It was like, baby, they got to like the 17th pick and they said, we want to announce a trade from earlier. He was traded to so-and-so. Okay. But I'm talking about they be telling us, the announcers be telling us, they traded this pick to so-and-so. And you would think commissioner come and say, hey, we have a trade. The Phoenix Suns traded their selection to whoever, and the Utah Jazz select. No, he doesn't do that. He just says Phoenix select them. They come up with the Phoenix hat. They don't even go there. They're not even going there.
They're not going there.
That is the most confusing thing.
It is.
Only thing that's good is only 2 rounds. Because think if they did that for like they used to 7 rounds.
Oh my gosh.
And they would be doing that confusion. Nobody know who.
You wouldn't know who. You wouldn't know. Right now you don't really know who's going, but if you just put up with it, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine 7 rounds of that?
Yeah, they used to have 7 rounds. I remember that.
I remember that.
Yep.
I mean, I remember years ago they had like, I believe 12.
Yeah, 12. Long time, yeah. Used to be 12 rounds. Yep.
They had less teams, but a lot more rounds back then.
Yep.
And it's like I said, at the end of the day, it's like you just can't keep track of where these guys are going.
And then, half your draft selection, I'll say maybe that out of the top 15, maybe 5 of them, 4 or 5, maybe, they're not even going to come this year.
No.
They're still going to play over in Europe, wherever they're
going to go
before they even come.
And they're not even going to be there.
They don't come right away all the time. So, I don't know how many of these guys, I didn't pay attention to it like I used to, but I noticed that before. It'd be like all these guys get drafted from everywhere in Europe, and none of them come. It'd be 2 years down the road before they come.
Well, yeah.
But this year, these guys might come right away. So I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it.
Just for the heck of it, curiosity, In 1964 NBA draft, okay, I know there aren't a lot of teams, but they had 15 rounds back then. They had 101 selections in 15 rounds. So can you imagine 15 rounds? And just for the heck of it, Walt Hazzard was a territorial pick for the LA Lakers. George Wilson was a territorial pick for the Cincinnati Royals. And the first selection overall was Jim Barnes for the New York Knicks. And I do remember he had the name Jim Bad News Barnes. He played for the Knicks. And they had another guy, and why I remember this, don't ask me why. But I remember I went to my first New York Knicks game. I think I was 9 years old. And I remember getting the program, and they had Johnny Green, and they called him Jumpin' Johnny Green, and they had Jim Bad News Barnes on that team, and Willis Freed was, I believe, a rookie.
Okay.
It was just unbelievable. And I just think back of that, and I just remember that team playing, and I thought that was so cool that a guy's name was Jim Bad News Barnes and Jumpin' Johnny Green.
I do remember him.
You remember Jumpin' Johnny Green? I remember I remember Barnes. Jim Barnes.
I can't remember Barnes, but I remember Green. I remember Green getting traded to somebody playing. Did he go out west and play or something? But I remember that name.
Yeah, he actually he played for the ball. He was with the Knicks 1 year, 64, 65. Then he was traded to the Baltimore Bullets, and then the LA Lakers, Chicago Bulls in 68. I'm just going to, and then the Celtics, and then finally the Baltimore Bullets in 1970. Okay. But he was the number one. He was 6'8", 210 pounds, and he actually played for Texas Western.
Okay.
So it's where he actually played for Cameron in 1960 to 62. Then he played at Texas Western from 62 to 64 and was the number one pick.
Okay.
Out of Texas. Now it's called University of Texas, El Paso.
Right.
But back then it was, I remember him, and Jumpin' Johnny Green. I do also remember him. But that's when the NBA, like I said, 15 rounds back in 1964.
Yep.
So it's just now it's 2.
Thank God. It's not no 15.
Yeah.
You know.
Granted, it was a smaller league.
Yeah.
There weren't, I believe there were only 9 teams back in 1964. Not 8 or 9. But bottom line is now they've got to 2, but it's so confusing to watch the NBA draft. And to be honest with you, I have not heard of a lot of those guys, like the France guys, the guy they had, 3, 4 guys.
Yeah.
That were from France. I just didn't really know a lot of these players.
Yeah. I know 2 of them. I seen them on the playing.
Okay.
They had like the AAU things on ESPN. I watched. I seen them.
Okay.
But the other guys, I don't know who they is. They might have been playing during that tournament time too. I just didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
I know I seen some guys that had some skills. I know that. So I
heard the Kentucky guy kind of knew, and I knew the Connecticut players.
Yeah.
Because I was watching Connecticut in the back then. So it's so hard to try to figure out where a lot of these guys have come from, and I've never heard of a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what the only thing with the draft is. I think a lot of it was Bronny going to go to the Lakers, and I think we all knew he was.
Yeah, I just said he's either going there or wherever he's going, they're working towards getting LeBron there. There's some kind of something brewing that way. So once he went to the Lakers, I said, okay, he's probably going to opt in and sign unless there's some type of stuff going. Like I said, Knicks, somebody like that.
Yeah.
Golden State, anybody. But it's going to be a package deal if it happens. I don't see him saying, hey, trade me, or I'm going to so-and-so, and you just stay there, Brian. He's not going to do that.
No. What will happen here is I think he's staying in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they'll be able to work the trade just because of the money and the cap. I think that at the end of the day, LeBron will not opt in. They will give him that contract extension that's like, 50 some or 60 million a year for 3 years or something like that. And that's what they'll do. They'll sign him for 3 years. Maybe Bronny goes to the G League and develops because he's still raw.
Yeah.
And he's still.
And that would be perfect for him.
And that's what really I think they'll do.
Yeah.
Is bring him, put him in the G League, let him develop, give him he could have stayed in college for another year or two, developed his game, but I know, he wants to get in and play with his dad. I get it. The dad wants him. That's a great thing. This has never been done in the NBA.
And the G League will be perfect for him to get ready.
Right. Put Bronny, the G League, let him develop, and then he can come back up to the Lakers and play with LeBron. Mm-hmm. And then, everybody is going to be watching that game, and that's going to be must-watch TV.
Yep. And now the only thing I say about Bryce, the young one, we would love to get him. The only way that's going to happen is they have to fix something because I actually think he's going to be a first-round draft.
Yeah, Bryce is evidently, from what we've been reading, is Bryce has, as far as talent, or he seems to be better than Bronny right now. But you never know because these kids are so young. Yeah. That's why I was just looking at his size because of his size too, and he can shoot from the outside. He can go inside. He can handle the ball. Right. And I just said he's going to probably be a guy that will get picked. In the first round. He will. Probably.
Yeah.
The thing you have to realize with the NBA draft, and we've seen this, is you just don't know because these guys are just so young.
But that's what they want. That's what they want. And the commentators were talking about that. They said, I just don't understand. Like the Lakers took Dalton.
Yeah.
That guy was scoring at will. I watched him with Tennessee. He could score like crazy, but because he was 23, they looked at
him. He dropped in the draft.
He dropped because of his age.
Right.
They said they love 18 and 19-year-old kids.
Do.
That's what they want. 20, you're almost an old man sometime at 20 coming into the NBA. That's what they want, 18 and 19. I actually think that's a disservice to the NBA because these guys need to develop. And sometimes when you get these guys in, they don't have the ability to adapt to that NBA game, so it makes the game a lot sloppier because you're paying money for these first round picks, so you keep them, and they get out there and play, and they're not up to standard just yet, and I think that sometimes hurts the playing ability overall when you look at the playing ability overall in the NBA.
And that's what I think more than anything is you see it a little bit in NFL, but they've had 3 years.
Yeah.
So the NFL players are more developed.
Yeah. And they may have to sit for a little bit, but overall they are a lot more ready and equipped to play than the NBA players.
But the NBA guys are just, potentially they're just not ready to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
They go to the G League and bounce around. Like, look at the Joker. He was drafted second round in 2014, and no one knew him.
Right.
And they wrote about his limitations, slow, blah blah blah. He wasn't that,
Yeah.
But
they said that about Dirk Nowitzki too.
Yeah, they said that.
They knew he's a first round pick, but he's slow.
Right.
But he played at his speed,
right,
and he could play.
Right. That's right. So, they know nothing.
Right. That's right.
Let's go to the phones. You're on the sports page. What's up?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Dave. How you guys doing?
Hey, Irish Mike. What's happening?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Hey, you guys talking about the NBA and the NBA draft?
Yes.
Obviously, the big topic was Bronny James going in the second round of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
And, I know there was a thing making away a couple days before the draft. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but allegedly Rich Paul, LeBron and Bronny James' agent, was calling around NBA teams saying, don't take Bronny. The only two teams they wanted to take were the LA Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. I think LeBron would have been interested in going to Phoenix to play along with Kevin Durant and Booker and those guys and saying, I'll do whatever I have to do to play with my son. So I think that was a possibility. I know a lot of people say, well, he would either be a Laker or come back to Cleveland. people that I talked to said the Cleveland thing was never going to happen because all they have is a mid-level exemption. So,
right.
but I have a friend who lives on the West Coast, and he actually stopped watching Lakers a couple years ago. He said they've ceased being an organization. They're just an entertainment industry now. They're just trying to entertain you. They're not really trying to win.
Yeah, that's probably that's been kind of passed on the media. That's a big criticism of the Lakers is they're not really focusing on winning, is more of the entertainment factor is what they're shooting for.
Obviously LeBron's going to be 40 in December.
Right.
He'll be entering his 22nd year in the NBA.
Yep.
Like, I guess the question I'm for you guys is realistically, he's obviously still playing at a very high level. How much more of a high, and how much more longer does he really want to do it? Does he want to play till he's 43, 44, 45? I don't know the answer to that, but, obviously when he left Cleveland, a lot of people said, he was going to, LeBron let it be known to people. We all knew it was going to end this way. Like I was going to be out in LA because he wants to do the movie star and, Paramount and all that other stuff and make money off the floor, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that, but
right.
Obviously it looks like he's going to end his career as a Los Angeles Laker.
Yeah. Cause what he'll do is he'll sign the new contract, three year. I would think that this would be the last contract, the 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is what they'll sign. I mean, word is he'll sign the 3 year. What is it, like $180 million? Something where he gets about $60 million a year, roughly, for 3 more years, and then I think he will probably at that point get out. But you never know with LeBron. I mean, but you're right. I mean, his skill level is still. He hasn't really. I mean, he's not the young LeBron, but he's still playing again. Yeah. He's still in the discussion of being a top 5 player in the league. And it's just unbelievable, a man his age. No NBA player has ever played at that well at that age, ever, in all of it, the history of the NBA. Yep. I mean, take it back. I'll give Kareem played pretty good.
Yeah.
His last year was a little, but he was 42.
Right.
So I should back off that statement. Kareem played pretty good.
At 40.
At 40, he was really, so Kareem and LeBron would be the only two in that stratosphere is playing at a high level at that age.
Yep.
So I have to,
I think when Kobe left, he was 37 or 38 or 39. He just didn't want to do it anymore. He was still playing at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
He had a family, wanted to do other things off the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kobe still he just had those injuries that I think sidelined him.
And then I think he played, but I think he just, like you said, he didn't want to play anymore. He wanted to actually concentrate on his daughter.
Yeah.
And really see, and then concentrate on this women's basketball period to get the publicity it should get. And he was really supporting that. So he was really into that,
Yeah, you're right. I think, Kobe might have been able to play another year. Ability-wise, I think he still had it. The skills were still pretty good.
Yep.
But he ultimately decided, he had enough. He played till 2016. So he would have been 38?
Yep.
Yeah.
He would have been about 38.
Yep.
When he played, or 37.
I think we all agree if Bronny James was named Joe Jones, he would never got drafted. We all know that. We all get that concept.
Yeah, look, Rich Paul. Okay, you're an agent, I get it, but Rich Paul's trying to tell us that if his name was John Jones, he would have been drafted anyway. No, he wouldn't.
No, not now.
No.
He would have been better for him to go back for another season.
Right.
Because he didn't even have a true season.
He had the heart attack.
Right.
And so he really didn't get to play. His freshman year, he didn't get to play much. He was coming off a heart attack. I mean, you're right. I mean, I thought personally he should have played another year to develop the game and maybe transfer to a UConn and played for Hurley or played for like one of those coaches and develop his game. But we know basically he wanted to play for his father. LeBron wanted him, and that's the way it is. And they'll probably, he'll probably do G League and develop his game.
And the reality is, Bronny went back to USC for another season. That pushes LeBron for another year to 41. He's got to look and say, well, I don't know how much longer I have left. I probably have 2 or 3 years left. So the longer he stays in college, the less likelihood we can ever play together.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great moment the first time they're on the floor together, like Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
But like Bill Plaschke said at LA Times, it's not going to help you win the Western Cup. It's going to be a feel-good moment, then it's going to go away. It's not going to keep happening like look, they played together. No. The first time they're out there and he throws an alley-oop to his son and they dunk, it's going to be on all over ESPN, the highlights and stuff, and then people are going to move on with their lives.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you see, the Lakers get criticism because there's a lot of critics out there that go back to say that, they signed Kobe to that big fat extension, but then they couldn't get another player to play for him. And the Lakers weren't that very good in Kobe's last few years because they could never get the guy, that second player, the Robin.
Yeah.
And the Lakers weren't really that great a team if you look at Kobe's last few years. Now, he was fun to watch. He could score, and he was a highlight reel like he was Kobe, but the team itself wasn't very good. And they said the Lakers sometimes, that's what gets back the criticism is they like the showtime, but they don't necessarily build for a title. Yeah. And they don't make maybe the hard decisions of cutting people loose. Like some people felt that they should have told Kobe, look, Kobe, the hardcore, trade him and get what you can and start over. And they were never going to do that.
No.
But by not trading Kobe and keeping him as long as they did and giving him all that money, they couldn't build the team properly. And the team just kind of was.
And that's the part. You could keep him, but you couldn't give that type of money.
You can't. Right.
But
and obviously they won the championship a couple weeks ago, the Boston Celtics. Danny Ainge built that team. Remember when we traded Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Brooklyn Nets for all those first-round drafts?
Right.
Yep.
And obviously it culminated in the championship, and they're still one of the top 3 teams in the NBA moving forward because they got that young talent. And obviously he's out in Utah with the Utah Jazz, trying to do the exact same thing with the Donovan Mitchell trade and the trade with that center with Minnesota.
Right. Hold on, Irish Mike. We're coming up on the end of the third quarter. Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after a timeout.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Want to know what I like best about high school sports? I love watching my son run on the field. I love the fact that since he's been playing high school sports, he's making better decisions. And I love knowing that with the proper equipment, education, conditioning, and coaching, high school sports here in Ohio are safer than ever before. And that's something I really love.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday Morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, and let's get Irish Mike back. Hey, Irish Mike.
Yeah, guys, before the break, I was mentioning Danny Ainge, what he did in Boston, now what he's in Utah, accumulating all the picks, and you see how it's benefiting the Oklahoma City Thunder right now. You know, they kind of, for lack of a better phrase, they tanked, and it looks like now the Brooklyn Nets want to tank for a little bit with getting all those picks from New York. And it's like, I think you and I and Dave talked about this for like the last 6, 7, 8 years on the show. The fact that in the NBA, you either want to be really, really good or really, really bad.
Right.
And accumulate as many draft assets you can over the next 4 or 5 years, 6 years to say, yeah, we're going to be bad for 2 or 3 years, but at least we come the 2026, 2027 season, the Brooklyn Nets finally have something to sell to people. You know, obviously when they had Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, that didn't work out, and they made a multitude of trades. But they have all these first-round draft picks moving forward, and you can accumulate veterans that way and have assets moving forward. That's the way it has to be done, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, right. The worst thing you can be in the NBA is like a tweener, which either you're barely getting into the playoffs, you're like an 8, well, before they did the play-in. But
or even a 5 or 6 seed, Pat. You're
right.
5th or 6th seed.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's even tougher, right in the middle of the pack.
When you're in the middle of the pack, you're almost kind of in purgatory, where you're just kind of like, you're not getting a high enough pick to get better.
Right.
And, you know, you can't, and one thing the NBA is not, it's not the NFL. NFL teams can get really better in 1 year. They could go from a crappy team to a really good team in 1 year. We've seen that, like, history tells you. Like, look at the St. Louis Rams were horrendous 1 year, and they were in the Super Bowl like the next year.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the NFL so great, is because you can have teams that can be average or even not even, and all of a sudden they're a good playoff team, and vice versa. Playoff teams drop out, and then a good team an average team will get in and elevate. And in the NBA, it doesn't work that way. The lousy teams, it takes a while for bad teams to get better, and it's year in and year out, and they have the little luck, and they got to get lucky on draft picks and hit certain picks, and then they can maybe build. But again, that's what, like with Denver and the Joker, he was a 2nd-round pick. Nobody even knew who he was. And he wasn't even that good. It was like almost like this guy had limited skills, and then he developed and took off. But he was like, only 19 when they drafted him?
Yeah. Yep.
And he was raw, but nobody knew. But you don't know.
You don't.
Let's assume everybody's healthy. Everyone's 100% healthy. Obviously, we deal with injuries in all the sports, but just make that assumption. Moving to the 24-25 season, where are the Cleveland Cavaliers at right now in the Eastern Conference? Right now, today, everyone's 100% healthy. What team? I'm thinking about next April, May, early June of 2025. What teams in the Eastern Conference right now are better than the Cavs?
Boston, obviously, number one. No, but I think Boston can win I think the Celtics are going to be multiple championship winners. Maybe the Knicks would be better, I believe. If you're thinking in just the East alone.
Milwaukee Bucks?
Close. I don't know. Milwaukee Bucks. I still think the Milwaukee Bucks, when trading Drew Holiday away, they did something to that team. I don't know if they can recover. They just have not the right team, and they seem so out of sync. And you can blame the coach all you want, but Doc Rivers is a good.
They couldn't blame him coming in.
Can't blame him. But they had a good coach. They fired him, and he had a good record. But the players don't like him, so they fire him. Well, that's what happens in the NBA. The players are dictate who your coach is. Darvin Ham made somebody mad because, again, I think LeBron could have kept if LeBron went into the Laker front office and said, "You got to keep Darvin Ham. I'm going to play for him," they would have kept him.
Yeah,
I'm convinced of that, but it didn't happen. But my point, and I don't just mean LeBron, but that's all those players in the Durant. Look who he got fired. Atkinson, who is the coach of the Cav coach. Mm-hmm. Durant and Kyrie got him fired because they didn't want to play for him.
Yeah,
I mean that's what happened. They went out and they got Nash, but that's what the NBA does.
They didn't like
him, and they got him fired. It's like a damn Seinfeld episode. Get rid of him. I don't like him. Well, we're sick of him. Get rid of him.
So I think we came to 3 right now. We got Boston, New York, Milwaukee. I think we agree on that. where would you put now? The wild card in the whole NBA this summer, going to free agency next week, and the exciting time in the NBA between the 1st and 10th of July is the Philadelphia 76ers. Because my understanding is they have a whole lot of money to spend.
Right, they got the cap room.
I mean,
they got tons of cap room.
Tons.
They got two really great players.
They could get George and Jimmy Butler if they wanted to.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, they could.
They could.
The problem with Philadelphia,
but I don't think they will, though.
They probably won't. But the problem with the Philadelphia 76ers is simple. Joel Embiid may be one of the best, if not the best player in the league. He's always hurt. He cannot get out of an injury bug.
Yeah.
I've never seen a big man with the skill he has at his size, but he just can't not be hurt. He's just always injured. I don't know, because he's, like the Yao Ming, Yao Ming was a great player, but he was always hurt because his bones were weak, his foot and ankle, and he always was getting hurt because the pounding up and down the floor in a season took its toll, and those players were always getting leg, ankle, foot injuries. And that just seems Joel Embiid has always got some kind of injury. He played against the Knicks. Had he been 100% healthy, they probably beat the New York Knicks.
I agree with that.
But he had that leg injury. He was playing on one leg, and he still almost beat the Knicks.
So I guess the question I have for you guys, we've already labeled 4, maybe, at least 3 teams, maybe 4 for the Cavaliers. Obviously, with the Donovan Mitchell trade 2 years ago, they gave up a lot of future they gave up a 25, 27, 29 first-round draft pick, swap picks in 26 and 28. So they're right up against the cap, paying a luxury tax. So their flexibility is very, very minimal right now as far as where they're at today as an organization. So do you put these 4 guys on the court again next year and say, let's see if a new coach can develop them better than J.B. Bickerstaff did? One of my friends follows the NBA very religiously, as I told you, Pat. And his biggest problem with J.B. Bickerstaff was the fact that a game would be December 16th, the week before Christmas, and he played these guys 43, 44 minutes. Like, he said he's playing like it's the 7th game of the NBA championship, and it's December 16th. And he goes, he does that in January and February as well. Like the other night when I think it was Wednesday night, the Guardians lost to Baltimore after their 8-game winning streak, 7-game winning streak. Vaught rested the bullpen. He put a guy out there and said he couldn't get you out and me or Dave out. And he texted me that this is the anti-J.B. Bickerstaff right here. He's taking one saying, we're not going to win tonight, and that's okay. I'm going to rest my bullpen because they need reps.
Right. The problem you have in the NBA is the Cavaliers, I think, are a very good team. And if they don't have the injuries, if Donovan Mitchell was healthy, I think they give the Celtics a pretty good series. I don't think they can beat them, but it could have been an interesting series. Maybe they take them to 7 games. Didn't happen because of Donovan Mitchell's injury. And this is what, again, I think the Cavaliers are good. They could be in the discussion top 3, the Knicks, Boston, and the Cavs. Now Orlando's getting better. They're younger. So you have to, again, they're talented. They're improving. It's a young team. So be careful. They could move up. What other team in the East that really jumps out at me? Miami Heat, potentially. Riley is always tweaking that team. I don't know what they're going to do with Butler. Do they trade Butler? Rumor has, could be. Does the 76ers, to Dave's point, can they get George and Butler, or do they get Paul George out of the Clippers? I'm going to call them the San Diego Chargers. I don't know what happened there. But bottom line is there's teams in the East that are very ultra competitive and could get into that discussion. I think 2 through 5 is debatable. But the filet mignon, the best team is by far the Celtics. And I just don't think the Celtics are going to, I think they're going to go back. I think this team's going to win multiple titles as long as they keep the 2 Tatum and Brown. If they keep Brown and Tatum, I think the Celtics are going to win another title. At least, maybe 2 more titles.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody in the East, maybe the Knicks, if the Knicks get the team, and the Knicks are very hustle, aggressive. Could they potentially upset the Celtics in a 7-game series? I just think the Celtics have the talent.
I mean, they may have it, I think, to get to it, but whether they can win it, I don't know if they can beat the West every year. It just, things worked out perfectly.
Right.
That it was the Dallas Mavericks.
Right.
And things
Dallas
of that nature.
upset Minnesota. Minnesota upset Denver.
Yeah. There's certain teams I think they would have had problems with.
And you're right.
We'll see, though. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Season come back so quick, the NBA season. Because we get into training camp for football and the season starts, and the next thing you know, they're in training camp for the NBA.
NBA just starts so early.
Yep.
Yes.
But that's
training camp's now in the middle of September.
Right. That's preseason games, right?
Yeah, the preseason's coming up in a few months.
The first games are like October 12th, October
Yeah.
13th,
Yeah.
14th. They're playing games by the middle of October. Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going at it.
Right.
Think about it, guys. The hockey season just ended 4 or 5 nights ago.
Yeah, hockey,
They start
right.
their training camp in early September around Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're the Florida Panthers in Edmonton, you start training camp in about 2 months. Think about that.
Is that something you just off for a little bit and you're right back?
Yeah, they get no.
You get about 8 or 9 weeks. About 9 weeks, and you're right back at
Off
it.
season is nothing.
Nothing for them. That's terrible.
They're back at it, and so's the NBA.
Yeah. Yep.
And Porzingis is not even going to be ready now.
Oh, no, he's no way.
He's not going to be ready till maybe December. He's having that surgery on that freak injury he had.
Yeah, he had it the other day. They said probably right around Christmas time. So
He may be ready. And knowing what I know about Porzingis, that means January.
Yeah, and let's be honest, guys. We all know this. 3 of us know this. They really don't care as long as you're ready to go in April. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No, but you're right.
You get about 25, 30 games in, get your legs underneath, get your win. But, obviously the NBA is trying to do everything to prevent these. Remember the power teams that, people will argue this with me, and I say they're so wrong. They'll say, well, the Celtics started this with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce, the super teams, okay? And my answer is no, they didn't, okay? Here's why. Because Paul Pierce was a lifelong Celtic until he got traded to the Brooklyn Nets, and then he played, end of his career. But my point is this: he played with the Celtics 8 or 9 years, and then they traded. Remember, they traded for Kevin Garnett, and then 6 weeks later, they traded for Ray Allen. You can't prevent trades in the NBA. Trades are going to happen, and I get that, and I have no problem with trades. But super teams are built through free agency. When guys have the opportunity to move, that's a different story. The first super team was the Miami Heat with LeBron James and Chris Bosh,
right,
signed along with Dwayne Wade in Miami. That was the first super team.
Yes.
Because they went there via free agency. That's different than trades. I'm sorry. Right. And I know at the end of the end, LeBron was traded to Miami Heat because it benefited the Cavs, right, but ultimately he chose to go there as a free agent. We all know that.
We know that. Exactly.
And the NBA doesn't want these super teams now. They don't want them. Because the reality is the Knicks gave up just as much to get the young man the other night, Pat, help me out, from Villanova, who's going to go from Brooklyn to New York now.
Mikal Bridges. Yeah, they gave up
Bridges.
Right.
And I think the Cavs had him on the radar screen somehow, potentially make a trade. But the Knicks gave up just as much for him as the Cavs gave up to get Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, they gave up a bunch of draft. Really, what they gave up for Mikal Bridges was that Bogdanovich, who was a good player. He's hurt a lot. Good 3-point guy.
Who the Brooklyn Nets will probably cut. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're right. They probably will. And then
the Knicks will re-sign him.
And the Knicks will probably you're right.
And use them.
And use them again. But they gave up more draft choices. And up to the point with this NBA draft choices, it's such a crapshoot with these guys. You have no idea what you're getting on. I mean, you don't even have a clue.
No, because guys come from France or 1 year of college.
You no idea what you have. These first round picks. A few years ago when Tamron and I did this show, it was July. We had kind of nothing to do, sort of to speak. We started going through the NBA drafts from like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And running off, and we were like, it was so funny. I'm rattling these names off. Tamron shaking his head, going, "That guy was a bum. What happened to him?" And there was guy after guy. We went through drafts. I think it was the 2004 04 draft. I think it was.
With LeBron? No, they was 3. They was 2003.
Michael the Candyman was number 1. That draft was like, who are these guys? They never did anything.
Yeah.
And then you'd get some guy in the second round, obscure guy did something.
I feel like as a sports fan, I'm just much to blame in regards to college hoops and NBA because I don't really start to follow college basketball until like the middle of February, end of February. I mean, they start playing November, December, January. There's 3.5 months of college basketball. They play probably 20, 23, 24, 25 games that I don't even pay attention to.
No, because
you asked me on December 8th who's the first, who's ranked in the top 5 in college basketball. I have no idea.
No,
honestly, I don't.
No, nobody does because everybody's
the March Madness thing. The postseason conference tournaments and then the NCAA.
Yeah, when the conference tournaments come, I'm ready.
That's what I am.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
because of football.
Yeah,
everybody in this country.
That's a fair argument. Yeah,
everybody. Most people.
Yeah,
I'll back it off a little. Let's get real. We care about football. There's 2, NFL and college. We follow our sets and even high school. I'll throw that in. But people start getting cranked up in August because college football's coming up. And as soon as it's week 0, people are watching.
Yeah.
But people get and then when the NFL starts in September, a lot of people follow the exhibition and training camp closely.
Oh, yeah.
And spend a lot of time, Dave Clark. Dave is on top of all that. You love it. You watch NFL.
You take football in general, Pat.
Right.
High school football starts early now in early August.
And
somebody said, our first scrimmage we have to officiate is August 4th.
Right.
Our first scrimmage to officiate. And then the NFL now goes to the middle of February. So literally you have 6+ months of football.
Right. Yep. You
August,
do.
September, October, November, December, January, February.
Yep. And most people have blinders on to the other sports.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to watch football. I'll watch that Thursday night Amazon game. I don't care who's playing.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
I'm watching football. I don't care the teams. NFL football.
It's football, period. I'm convinced now because I was worried about. I said UFL is not going to. They got great TV ratings.
UFL.
Look how many guys is getting signed.
Right.
But NFL.
No, the UFL.
Football, it's just love,
right.
Man.
People. The UFL.
Dave Clark.
Yes.
Dave Clark. Come November. Nobody loves MAC action on Tuesday night and Wednesday night more than Pat Lucia.
I know.
Yeah, I watched that.
I love great. That's the best. Are you
It'd be
kidding
double
me?
header games too. It'd be game on.
Those
ESPN.
are double headers. They start at 7 and then again at 9:30. Are you kidding me? That football's great.
Yeah, I've never watched so much MAC football in my entire
I never
life.
did.
I didn't even know who the guys. I know the guys in that league now.
And MAC football is great. I love MAC football. It's wide open. Those games are crazy. And they're like, there aren't a lot of people in the stands in some of those venues, but who cares? I'm watching like Miami playing Bowling Green. Those games are crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. I'm watching,
I'm
watching that football during the week. There's nothing on I care about. I got the MAC football on, but everybody, that's what the problem you have is. I'll be the first to admit I got blinders on. I don't pay attention to regular season NBA. I pay March maybe after college.
Yeah.
Then I start watching college conference title games. But up until then, but I'm only paying attention because there's no more football.
Yeah.
I'm not, as soon as the football playoffs, I'm following the NFL playoffs. I don't know what the hell's going on in the other sports.
Yeah.
It is funny though, but it is. It's just it dominates. It's not even close.
No, but
nothing's close.
Nothing.
It's nothing close.
There's nothing that even is holding a candle to NFL and college football.
Nope.
And these playoffs, these college football playoffs are going to be crazy.
I can't wait until
I can't wait.
I knew I really was nuts. When I was watching, I stayed up and watched Texas, San Antonio.
Right.
In a college football game. I forgot who they were playing. I think it was Arkansas State or somebody.
Right.
That game was great.
Right.
It went into double overtime and everything. These guys was passing the ball all over the place. I mean, years ago I probably wouldn't have watched that, maybe, but now you can't. I watch it all.
But that's just
guys. Two things you mentioned college football, and I did want to talk about this thing real quickly. One, a couple of decisions came down this week were interesting to me. One, if you're a analyst now, defensive analyst, offensive analyst, you're now allowed to coach on the field now. Before you could do everything, but you cannot be on the field coaching during practices or during the games. Now, as an analyst, you're legally allowed to do that now.
All right.
So Alabama has got 27 analysts. They're going to have all these coaches on the field. You know, schools have been analysts for 20 years now. It's just that they had restrictions. Now, this week they released those restrictions. So it'll be fun to see how these major powers, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, hire even more and more analysts to help them if they think they can.
I'm sure they will.
The other thing is they turned down the proposal of early signing period. A lot of these college coaches starting next year wanted to say, hey, let kids sign in June before their senior year of high school.
Right.
And still have the normal February signing period.
Right.
Now it's December 20th.
Okay.
You know, people are saying, hey, you're going to be right in the middle of the playoffs, as you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
And my understanding, it's going to get pushed back 2 weeks now to December 4th is going to be signing day. So coaches don't have to worry about it. Now, the coaches coaching in their conference championships, Big Ten, SEC, et cetera, ACC, will have to worry about it that week because they're going to have a game on Saturday, but that Wednesday will be signing day on December 4th, 2024 for the class of 25. But my understanding, guys, the reason why the early signing period got nixed, and a lot of coaches before, let's do this in June, let's do it in June, let's sign before their seniors. They thought it was a great idea. Many high school associations around the country hated that idea. Yeah. And you know why, Lucia? They were afraid that the kid signs on the dotted line with Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, USC, that they'll opt out and sit out their senior year of high school football and they won't play.
Well, that makes sense. If you've got a kid who's going to be a senior, but he signs to go to Ohio State to June, and he knows he's going there, why risk an injury? I wouldn't. I mean, if I was the kid, I'd sit out because you don't want to get hurt.
Right.
If you already got your signing, you got your deal, and you got your NIL deal lined up, which you know you do, why would you risk injury? Yeah, high school doesn't want that. Right. You'd have your best players sitting out. A lot of them would sit out. And I would not blame them. It's the same thing with college, with the bowl games. These kids aren't playing bowl game because they're going to the NFL. They're not risking a horrendous injury.
If you guys remember back during COVID, he's going to be a senior at Ohio State, Jack Sawyer, the defensive end in 2020. He sat out his senior year. He said it was COVID related, but people said, you know, he already knew where he was going to go, and he was a hot 5-star kid. Now, some people thought that hurt his development. When he came to Ohio State as a freshman, he wasn't as ready because he hadn't played football for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. So there is a downside that when you sit out, you get the cobwebs going on a little bit.
Trey Lance. Look at Trey Lance.
And then you can't do it.
Good point.
You can't do it like that. Like high school might want to try to sit out like that for a year and then come. It's not the same as a veteran, even though it takes time. But it's like riding a bike, it comes back a little bit quicker. These guys are not even developed.
They're not developed yet
to a certain level, and they can't. No. They can't take that. Do that where they can take out.
No.
They can't afford to do it. They have to play.
They really have to play and continue to develop.
Yeah, they're not that great.
It was my understanding, guys. They're going to come back to this again probably in a year because the college coaches want this signing period to be done in June.
Yeah,
they want their coaches. July is a big vacation month because these guys are going out 11 months. 14, 15 hours a day because there's no recruiting restrictions anymore. You know what I mean? It's the wild west, and so they said, "Hey, let's sign kids in June so we don't have to worry about it in December."
They want to get it off their They want to get it off their desk and done and over with. In the rearview mirror so they could focus on the season and not deal with signing. This hurts them because they have to still, as they're coaching the team and getting into the playoffs, there's still energy to sign, and they're still coaching. They're still in the active season. They want to have it all before the season, wash their hands and have the signing done so they can focus in on coaching and winning games. And that's what drives them crazy.
Now, the signing day is now going to be December 18th. But my understanding is, probably the next month or so, they're going to move from the 18th to the 4th. They're going to move it up 2 weeks because they realize, you guys said, the first round of the playoffs is December 20th and 21st.
Yeah.
Right.
You really want to be worried if you're Texas or Oklahoma signing kids on December 18th and, hey, we got a game on Friday night.
Right? Yeah, that's too much.
It's too much.
Yep.
You could say
It's
it.
not fair to the coaches.
No, it's
they
not.
are going to move it up.
No.
Yeah, that's
Now
good.
They moved it up and said it's going to interfere with conference championship, which the
Right.
conference championship games are Saturday, December 7th, but signing day will be Wednesday, December 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it will interfere a little with that, but hey, whatever. They got to move it up, though. They have to.
Yes.
Yep.
Even if it's even if it's like August, the middle of August. Now they're in training camp, but at least they can focus, a couple hours on making sure those kids get signed.
Right.
I mean, but the biggest fears from the high school associations across the country of our star players will sit out, will not play their season.
And that's what they don't. Right. That's what they don't want. They don't want to have the star kids sit out. And Dave, you brought up a good point.
Yeah.
These kids got to play.
They got to play. I'm telling you, they're not ready. They're not that great to think that they could sit out and then go to a major college and play. And then it stunts their development.
Right, it stunts their development.
It does.
And they're behind.
Yep.
And they need to play and play the games.
Play constantly.
And they got, because they are in a process, and they're farther behind the learning curve. And the other kids that are playing are advanced as far as in college. Now they've got another year under their belt. And to the other team player that sat out, it just is tough to do. Hey, Irish Mike, thanks a lot for the call.
Ready.
That's the show in the books. Next week, Dave Clark.
All right.
We'll do it again. It'll be totally off the board.
Yeah.
We'll be all over the place.
In the month of July.
Because it's July and it is the Saturday morning sports page. Do not drink and do not drive. Get a designated driver and buckle up. Stay safe. Saturday morning sports page. Western.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Tonight at 11, giving you the first look at tomorrow's lines to get an edge on the next day's bets. All this and more, only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Bonatoni, on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour 2 of the Lombardi Line coming at you on VSiN and DraftKings Network. This show, as always, presented by DraftKings. Alongside former NFL executive Michael Lombardi, Stormy Bonatoni with you on this special NFL Betting Guide Release Day edition of the program. Lots of NFL talk throughout the course of the next hour. Mike Palm, VP of Operations here at Circa Resort and Casino, where I am broadcasting from. He'll be in studio with us for the final half hour of the show, so get a little bit of that behind the book perspective. And, of course, Palm's Pressing 3 like we do every week. The NBA draft was last night, which ended up being a lot more interesting than I anticipated, by the way. How did you soak everything in, Michael?
Well, I thought it was interesting. Once you mute the TV, it became way more interesting. But just looking at the names coming through, and I had to research some of the players because I didn't know much about them. But, I mean, this French connection is remarkable, right? Yeah. Wemby went for one last year. They dominate 1 through 3. Zach Edey goes to the top 10. I didn't see that coming. Did you, Stormy? I thought, what's his, everybody wants us, what was interesting is Zach went in the top 10 and Klingon moved down the board, right? I would have thought if that would have been proportional. Because he was, to me, he's an old school center, just like Zach is. And so because of that, I figured, okay, to play with their back to the hoops, both of them could protect the rim and do all those things. But I guess the power of having a backup center is really prevalent for Memphis. I think Klingon is going to be really a good player. I really do. I know he's not a three-point shooter, which is what these teams want today, but he could do all the things you need, a little bit like what we saw Hartenstein do for the Knicks.
Klingon, he was a minus 250 favorite to go top 5. His prop was set at 3.5, minus 170 to the under. He ultimately falls 7 to your point. Zach Edey, who you referenced going top 10. No, I did not expect it, but our handy dandy producer, Elliot Bowman, who's a Purdue fan, I texted him, I said top 10, and his response, the league is catching up to what I already knew. So we knew that we had the Elliot confidence there. And then, of course, and this leads us to what's on Michael's mind today, which is always so fun to do, find out what's top of mind for you each and every day. Dalton Connect falling to number 17, Michael. Why was that percolating in your brain today?
Yeah, because nobody explained why he fell. Now, there was a little bit of a theory that most of the people in basketball, the analytical community, they love young players. I mean, that's nothing new. Al Davis used to talk about drafting young players all the time. I don't understand how that became associated with the analytics, but okay, so it is. Well, he's 23 years old. And so that's why he slipped. I mean, because he doesn't have any upward potential. He's already good. He's already come from playing at Northern Colorado to dominate the Southeast Conference. And I think what happened with the Sixers, now they tell me they got a really good player. I'm not sure. I'm sure, I got to watch more of him. He's a great shooter. But when you look at this, you say, wow, they must not expected him to be there. And I think a lot of teams did. The Lakers got better, there's no question, by just making that pick. And I think we'll see what happens. Today is the big day. Tonight's the big night. Where's Bronny go? That's the big night. That's all we're going to hear tonight is where's Bronny go? Where's he going for? The Lakers have 55. The Celtics have 54. They could ruin it for them.
Oh, come on.
That's going to be interesting. I know that's what's out there. That's what people are listening to. I mean, these idiots paid money to bet Bronny to go first pick overall. If you're doing that, please buy the betting guide. Please, I urge you. If you're dumb enough to make that bet, invest in our guide. This is ridiculous.
At least get something for your money. Geez, yeah, Michael, I made the proposition yesterday. I said the bank of Stormy Buonantony is open. I am taking bets for Bronny to go number 1. Nobody came my way, so those people were at least wise. But I would have taken that cash gladly because it's an insane conversation, even at 250 to 1 odds. It's not worthwhile. But interesting conversation. I think if he gets drafted, it's 55 to the Lakers. That's really the only answer. We'll see what happens tonight. But as far as Jared McCain goes at 16, you were so up in arms yesterday. You were like, I know they're going to mess it up. It's going to be something bad. I at least like Jared McCain on the surface. And I know you're not a big NBA draft fan in general when it comes to like picks, right? And picks ultimately working out. Teams make mistakes all the time. But McCain, at least you have Duke's head coach John Shire saying that he's the most disciplined worker that he's ever seen. He's somebody that really, really cares about the game. He's going to bring that 3-point shooting quality from the perimeter, which is something that the 76ers need. I was excited for you. I said, this is something that Michael can be happy about. And I'm sure a lot more 76ers fans in Philly are going to start painting their nails. So there's that.
I wanted him.
Yeah.
I wanted him. I thought like he was there. I thought, there it is, a chance. I watched him. He was he's 6'4.5", 6'6", somewhere in there. McCain's just you have McCain and Maxey in the backcourt. You're small. You don't have really good size.